Hi students, this is Mrs. Landberg and we are going to go over the 4 different ways to solve long division problems. You should have received these papers in the mail and you may have to flip through them to find the one that we're working on. Currently we're working on this one, 3,158 divided by 5 is where we're going to start. If you feel like you are confident in being able to solve these problems on your own, I highly recommend that you start by trying each method on your own with the problem and then coming back and watching this video. But if you still think that you need some help solving these problems, then go ahead and do a couple with me as I solve them in this video. And then as you feel like you're starting to get the hang of it more, start doing some of them on your own. Or you might possibly think you can do all the box method on your own. So go through and do all of those, then come back, and as you gain confidence, start using the video to check your answers instead of, completely complete your answers. Let's get started. So we're going to start with the box or the column method with this problem right here. So I'm going to write the number in each of the boxes. We're working all on 4-digit numbers today. All right, so, and I put the acronym down here. Does McDonald's sell cheeseburgers, or dad, mom, sister? That one doesn't have a name, brother. So we can call this one Chewy. That can be the pet dog, maybe. So we are first going to divide. If I have 3 M&Ms, can I give 5 friends an M&M? No, I cannot. So I'm going to put a 0 up here at the top. The corner represents as a multiplication symbol. Now I'm going to multiply. 0 times 5 is 0. I'm going to subtract. 3 minus 0 is still 3. I'm going to check my remainder. Is 3 smaller than 5? Yes, it is. So I'm going to bring it up to join the 1. Now I have 31 M&Ms in my hand. How many M&Ms can I give each of my 5 friends? So I'm going to skip count by 5. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30 is as high as I can get, so that's a 6. You don't want to go over 31, so you want to stop at a number below 31. Now I'm going to multiply. 6 times 5 is 30. Subtract. 31 minus 30 is 1. Check my remainder. Is 1 smaller than 5? Yes, it is. Now I'm going to bring up. 1 will join 5. Now how many times can I give 5 friends an M&M if I have 15 M&Ms? So I'm going to skip count by 5. 5, 10, 15. So I can do it 3 times. Now I'm going to multiply. 3 times 5 is 15. I'm going to subtract, and there's nothing left over. Is this number smaller than this number? Yes, it is. I'm going to go ahead and bring it up because I'm still going. Now I have 8. If I have 8 M&Ms in my hand, how many M&Ms can I give to each of my 5 friends? Well, just 1. So I'm going to multiply. 1 times 5 is 5. I'm going to subtract, and I have 3 left over. Is this number smaller than this number? Yes, it is, so I did it right. Now, if this number happened to be bigger than that number on any of these, then that means that you made a mistake in that column, and you need to go back and fix that mistake. Anyways, we have 3 left over, so I bring my remainder up. So my answer here is 631, remainder 3. And that is the box or column method for this problem. Now we're going to switch over and we're going to do the area model. All right, on the area model, it's a little bit different because we're going to start by putting the entire number in this first box. And we're going to divide it by 5. So when I am working in this column right here, this is technically considered the thousands column. Then we have our hundreds. tens and ones. So the reason, and it doesn't matter if they're labeled here, here, it doesn't matter where they're labeled at. But the reason it's good to think about this as thousands, hundreds, tens, and ones is because when you go to select an answer right here, you want to think about the fact that you need to start with, at the top here, you'll want to start, it's either going to be 1,000, 2,000, 3,000, 4,000, 5,000, 6,000, 7,000, and run out of room, 8,000, or 9,000 is going to be your answer. Or it could also be 0. So I'm going to start and I'm going to say, if I do 5 times 1,000, is that smaller or bigger than this number? Well, it's bigger, so that means that 1,000 cannot be it. And if 1,000 cannot be the answer, all of these cannot be the answer. So that means right here, my first number is going to be a 0. Now I'm going to multiply. 0 times 5 is 0. And when I subtract, I have 3,158. So I'm going to bring it up. I have 3,158. Now I'm going to do the same thing right here, except for it's going to be 0, 100, 200, 300, 400, 500, 600, 700, 800, or 900. If I do 5 times 100, it's 500. That's quite small, so that means I know it can't be those. 5 times 200 is 1,000. That's still pretty small. 5 times 300 is 1,500. Still pretty small. 5 times 400 is 2,000. That's still small. 5 times 5,000 is 2,500. That's getting closer. 5 times 600 is 3,000, so I can't be that one. 5 times 700 is 3,500, and that's bigger than this. So that means it cannot be any bigger number, so that means 600 must go right here. And any place where there's a line, there should be a plus. And then down here we have an equals. Now we're going to do the same thing. 600 times 5 would be 3,000. Going to subtract, and I have 158 left. I'm going to bring that up. So I have 158 here. Now I'm going to do the same thing, except for now I'm working with tens. So it's either going to have to be 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, or 90 is going to have to be my answer. Well, 5 times 10 is 50. That's small. 5 times 20 is 100. Ooh, that's getting closer. 5 times 30 is 150. 5 times 40 is 200. So that's over. So all of these are going to be over. So that means 30 is my answer right here. So 30 times 5 is 150. I'm going to subtract. I have 8 left over. I'm going to bring that up to my ones column. And now on my ones column, one last time, it has to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, or it can also be 0. Okay, 5 times 1 is 5. 5 times 2 is 10. So that's too big, which means all of these are going to be too big. So 1 times 5 is 5. I subtract, and I have 3 left over. Now I have all these numbers. So I have 0 plus 600 plus 30 plus 1. So I'm kind of rewriting them down here because this is a little bit messy. But if you don't do this part, then it would be easier to see where I wrote these numbers in the blue. And I'll even circle them with purple, or the green, I mean. So these numbers right here are the ones that I'm adding up. So 600 plus 30 plus 1 equals 631, but I also have a remainder of 3. So that is how you solve the area model. Okay. Now we're going to go to the partial quotients model, and the partial quotients model is very similar to the area model in the sense that we are using thousands, hundreds, tens, and ones. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to write the entire number here, divided by 5. Okay, so first I'm going to think about the thousands place. Can I do 5 times 1,000 and subtract it from this? No, because so this is going to be a 0. 0 times 5 is 0, and that still leaves me with 3,158. So now I'm going to do the hundreds place. How many hundreds can I multiply by 5 by to get as close to this as possible? Well, 5 times 100 is 500. 5 times 200 is 1,000. 5 times 300 is 1,500. 5 times 400 is 2,000. 5 times 500 is 2,500. 5 times 600 is 3,000. That's pretty close. 5 times 700 is 3,500, which is too big. So it's going to be 600. So 5 times 600 is 3,000. Now I'm going to subtract. I've got 8, 5, and 1 left. Now I'm going to go to the tens. 10 or times what can I multiply by 5 to get an answer here? 10 times 5 is 50. 20 times 5 is 100. 30 times 5 is 150. I think that's going to be it. That's pretty close. So 30 times 5 is 150. I'm going to subtract, and I have 8 left. So I'm going to go to my ones place. 1 times 5 is 5. 2 times 5 is 10, and that's too big. So this is going to be a 1. I'm going to subtract, and there's going to be 3 left over. Now I'm going to add these together. So it's going to be 0 plus 600 plus 30 plus 1. And I can even rewrite it over here so that way my numbers are lined up. And when I add those together, I get 631. But then I cannot forget about my remainder of 3. Some teachers have you do this over here. Other teachers would have you do 0, 600, 30, and 1, and write it on the top. Both ways are correct. You're still going to add those numbers together and get your answer, but some like to do it over here and some like to do it up here. Either way, it's still correct. So that's the partial quotients method. Now let's do the traditional method for long division. And let's switch to maybe a blue. Okay. This is the way that your parents learned how to do long division. So we have 3,158 divided by 5. If I have 3 M&Ms, can I take 5 out? No. If I have 31 M&Ms, can I take 5 out? Yes. I have 5 times 6, and I put it above this place. You could even put a 0 here. 5 times 6 is 30. So I'm going to subtract, and I have 1 left. Now I'm going to bring down. I check my remainder. It's less than 5, so now I'm going to bring down. 5 is going to join the 1. 5 times 3 is 15. So I'm going to subtract. There's nothing left, so that's definitely smaller than this. But I have one more number to bring down, and it's 8. Now 5 times 1 is 5. And when I subtract, it leaves me with 3. So my answer is 631, remainder 3. Okay, That's how you solve all 4 versions for this problem. I'm going to make another video for one of the other problems, and so as you feel confident, please make sure that you start doing some of these on your own as you gain confidence in how to do these different methods.